America, the greatest country on earth. From our founding, we have stood behind the basic principles of freedom, liberty, and democracy around the globe. And even in the face of our darkest hour, Pearl Harbor and World War II, we have banded together behind these fundamental rights and freedoms. And now enjoy the following presentation showing that no sacrifice is too large for the maintenance of these ideas.
Neither the Army nor the War Relocation Authority relished the idea of taking men, women, and children from their homes, their shops, and their farms. So the military and civilian agencies alike determined to do the job as a democracy should. Santa Anita Racetrack, for example, suddenly became a community of about 17,000 persons. The Army provided housing and plenty of healthful, nourishing food for all. They made a rough beginning at self-government. For while the Army would guard the outer limits of each area, community life and security within were largely up to the Japanese themselves. We are protecting ourselves without violating the principles of Christian decency. And we won't change this fundamental decency no matter what our enemies do. But of course, we hope most earnestly that our example will influence the Axis powers in their treatment of Americans who fall into their hands.
Japanese relocation, truly a sacrifice to celebrate throughout all of American history.
Whoa, hold up. Let's look at what really happened in history. First, Executive Order 9066 for the Japanese internment camps was not a super fun family getaway. It was the forced relocation of about 110,000 to 120,000 people. 62% of these people were U.S. citizens, and 69% were second generation. The U.S. Census Bureau even reports that they gave confidential neighborhood information on Japanese Americans so that the police could find them. The camps were guarded by military personnel with cold winters and hot summers. If the interns tried to flee, they got shot by the guard towers. Brave Fred Korematsu attempted to challenge this order by the Supreme Court, but they justified the internments by saying that it was wartime necessity. In 1988, the government tried to apologize by giving $20,000 reparation payment to each survivor. This blemish of history will forever remain a sign of our nation's disrespect of civil liberties and cultural differences. The whitewashing of this event is perpetuated by the curriculum in schools.
Unfortunately, the government doesn't want schools to teach it as it is. Instead, when Ohio legislators designed the curriculum, they decided to teach Japanese internment, saying that although Japanese Americans were interned in relocation camps by the U.S. government, many enlisted in the armed services. This is how they gloss over the truth of what happened. And they leave a link on the curriculum to the objectives of how they want it to be taught. In this, it says, the objectives of the order were to prevent espionage and protect persons of Japanese descent from harm at the hands of Americans who had strong anti-Japanese attitudes. I wonder where they got those anti-Japanese attitudes. APUSH is one of the few honest classes we have left. They're trying to take this away, even though when learning about the era of internment camps, it still says an increasing pluralistic United States failed to profound domestic and global challenges, debated the proper degree of government activism, and sought to define its international role.
Just recently, Oklahoma legislation has been overwhelmingly passed in order to ban the teachings of APUSH classes. The author, Representative Dan Fisher, says that this class emphasizes what is bad about America and characterizes that the U.S. as a nation of oppressors and exploiters. Legislation in Georgia, Texas, South Carolina, North Carolina, and Colorado have tried to change this AP course, citing it as liberal bias and focus on U.S. blemishes. Therefore, the issue is not just in our schools, it is in state legislation. Not only does this create a problem in our schools, it creates a problem in our public. In Colorado, students have protested in the thousands in order to bar the censorship in APUSH. Teachers have said they want honesty in their classrooms and can no longer work in such a corrupt environment. State legislation may not vote in the best interest. However, if we grow in numbers and riot against it, we shall thwart the perpetual problem of whitewashing history.